Hello, welcome to Maverick Live. I'm your host Luke 2, and today I'm joined by, other than some really fancy new graphics, Martin Ellis.
Hello, glad to be back again.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So obviously we're talking about creating a company culture. I'm going to jump straight into it now. I'm going to ask you how your day is. I don't care about that. We're going straight into the culture because this is such like a big thing to unpack. So whenever you talk about a company's culture, it's who they are, isn't it? It's like everything they revolve themselves around. It's their basis. Whenever someone comes in to the company, this is what you teach them. First things that come in, this is our culture, this is who we are, this is what we're all about.
Definitely.
So if you don't have one of those and you're just maybe you're a new business starting up, this is kind of the thing you need to establish from day one when anyone joins.
Yeah, I think any business, if you're planning on employing people, you need to define what your sort of values are, where your goals are, where you want to reach, that culture that you want to build within your business.
Yeah.
And you need to share it with everybody and make sure everybody's aware of that, those things that you've got in place.
Yeah, a lot of the time they can just be placeholder things where it's like, hey, we want to be the best. Oh. And it's like, yeah, I mean, what do you do with that? You need something which you can kind of anchor yourself to, which isn't just a little bit of, airy balloon talk of, we're going to be number one, we're going to be awesome. It doesn't really flow like that.
Yeah, you need something that you can actually sort of test against, really, I suppose, if that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
There's no good just saying we're going to be number one. How do you prove that you're number one? And people, there's a lot of people saying that. So you need to set something in there that you can actually sort of mark against and say, yeah, we've achieved that, or we can achieve that by, we can see how we can get to that result.
Yeah, so everyone's company culture is going to be different of what they value themselves on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through Maverick's company culture, our main goals, what the thing we strive for mostly.
Yes.
And we're going to kind of use that as like a template for other company culture. So this is how we can help others join it. So our first one we've got this is on our website. You can see it. We're very proud of what these are. So we've got it displayed everywhere. So the first one is honest and real, because we know without honesty and being real, we can't sell anything.
Yeah.
Because we strive ourselves on building relationships in order to sell.
I think, and if you're untruthful or you're not real in yourselves, people will really, really quickly find you out.
Yeah.
So there is absolutely no point in trying to fool people, or you've just got to be who you are. And it's definitely something that we strive to do. So, we pride ourselves on being, LinkedIn is our thing.
Yeah.
And so everybody, and it is everybody within the company, uses LinkedIn. And they use the principles that we have developed and the strategies that we've developed to run their LinkedIn accounts.
Yeah, it'll be different levels, but they'll know everything about it, and we're really we really want to train them into it and say, this is what this is what we're all about, so you need to get onto this and like learn something about it, even if they're not like messaging 100 people a day, or even if they're not full on, like maybe our business development team are going to be huge.
The business development team are on it.
Yeah.
That's
different levels.
Yeah,
so that's like the highest, but we're still very prevalent on the site.
But then you might, we'll have somebody who's in administration or doing something like that will still post about things. They'll still promote little things. They'll, so they're still using our strategies, but at a different level. But they're using what we're doing, so they're built into the things that we want to do.
They're practicing what we preach.
Practicing what we preach.
Exactly. Yeah. Our next one we've got is owning the outcome, because this should be on everyone's company culture. I think anyone who wants to deliver a service or a product needs to make sure they're owning their outcomes.
This is really important. I think this is one of the ones that we took quite a bit of time just to make sure that we were getting this right, the wording was right, and it's about making sure that what you're putting out there, what you're producing, the service you're offering, you own it.
Yeah.
It's not down to somebody else. If you're doing something, you own that outcome.
I think the key line in it is money is a byproduct of results.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't expect to invoice people or take their money if you don't deliver on what you say.
Yeah. And for us, it's not about the money. The money will come as a natural thing of what happens.
Yeah.
But if we don't deliver what the client wants, or even what we want, at the end of the day, it's the client gets a good service because it's what we want it to be.
Exactly.
So if we deliver the best that we possibly can, nobody's blaming somebody else if something doesn't quite go right. That's not what we're about. We try and work together, work as a team. If you don't quite understand something, go and ask somebody. This is the whole culture within here.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to go and ask, because at the end of the day, when it goes out the door to the client, in whatever shape or form it is, it needs to be right.
That's bled into the next one, which is know your stuff. But I'll go back into owning the outcome.
Yeah.
So if the client isn't successful, or if your product isn't successful, then you're not going to get any upsell. You're not going to have reoccurring buys. You're not going to have a consistent client.
Yeah.
There's so many reasons why not owning the outcome would be bad for you.
Yes.
Because you won't have your business won't last very long if it doesn't have that.
People always remember that. It's a weird sort of culture. I think we've got sometimes where people don't remember necessarily all the good stuff, but they're very quick to remember anything that's gone wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's always like, oh, they did that, they didn't do that quite right. They don't say these. There's not many people that say these guys are brilliant. They did this, they did that, they did that. They tend to remember the bad stuff. So the more that you can get rid of that, the more that you can reduce that by owning that outcome and making sure that everything the client gets is pretty much perfect. Then they're
as long as the bad stuff isn't glaring and consistent. Yes. If they only pop up once in a while,
definitely not consistent. I mean, if you get something and it's consistently going wrong, you really seriously need to take a look at that.
To refine that.
It shouldn't really get to that point.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And again, that's a part of owning this outcome. We don't seem to get a lot of that happen.
So we discussed about knowing your stuff. Obviously, that is just when you come across a barrier or something you don't know. Obviously, you ask someone who does know, because when we were starting out, we had pretty much a person who was the pinnacle of that center of knowledge. So we had someone for our technology would be Alex, someone for video would be this person. Yeah. It would be very standalone. But now we've got teams and we've been growing. But it means that anyone who comes into a business now, if they don't understand anything about LinkedIn, about social selling, maybe their messaging was wrong, they want to know why. It's all about approaching someone and going, okay, how can I fix this? Because there's always going to be someone in the building or in the office who can help you with that.
Yeah, the teams we've developed now. There's a lot of knowledge spread across those teams now, and the idea is to make sure that not one person understands something solely. Yeah. Which would, again, as your business grows, you can't have that happening, because as soon as they're on holiday or they go sick, you've got a big gaping hole in your business model. So we tend to try and make sure that people spread their knowledge. And if they don't, and again, if people don't know, go and talk to somebody, find it out, sit down there and learn what's going on. We've got a lot of new people starting with us now. I mean, last month was a big month for us employing people.
Yeah, I think I looked on our website. It was about 30% growth currently in a week, and then it's going up.
Yeah.
I mean,
the business is just growing and growing. It's the world's opening back up, and we're growing with it. And we've set ourselves up to do that. But as part of that as well, we've just got to be really careful that we make sure that we train the people that are coming in.
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges that comes with growing at a rapid rate.
So we're starting to put a lot more processes in place, and training sessions in place, and making sure that it's not just plonking them in front of a computer and saying watch this video. Yeah. We're then taking that, once they've done something like that, we'll take that into a live environment. They can then talk and discuss with other people in that, and just make sure they're learning everything they possibly can. And again, if they don't know it and they're in the office and they need to know it,
they can just ask. Even if they don't know who to ask, you can ask someone, and then they'll go, oh, this is the person you need. It's like one of those sort of situations. And
what's great with the team that we got in here, the people don't, if you go over and ask, people don't like, oh, why are you asking me? Which you can get in some environments. But everybody's here just, oh yeah, I've got 5 minutes, let's just go through it. Because everybody likes teaching everybody else, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a nice feeling knowing that you know something so well that you can go out teach it and pass it on. Because what a lot of people do is kind of hoard that information and use it as like, oh, if everyone else can do it, then what's my value in the business? It doesn't really work like that, because one of our last two company culture sort of messages with Maverick is think beyond yourself, and we're all in. So we're a big team together. And no matter what you do and what you learn, you're building up Maverick as a whole. Yeah. And you can use this across any company. So any company's coming out there and thinking to myself, oh, we've got this team now, and we don't feel very close-knit. You just need to get them talking to each other and teaching each other and building up the company.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that starts from our recruitment process. I mean, we make sure, we're a big family in here. So when we're employing somebody new, a lot of it's about how we feel they'll fit into the team. Yeah. And not just their own little individual team, the whole team of Maverick.
That's always met with some groans, isn't it, when someone says we're like a family, because like, oh, okay, are you now? But it is that sort of like a scenario where you feel a little bit more welcomed because there's people out there who need. Obviously, you need the help because obviously you're hiring. Yeah. And also at the same time, they're willing to help you because you're in it together. Yeah. So I
mean, they could be the best at their job, but if we feel they're gonna come in and the dynamics isn't gonna work within the group, then we'd be looking again.
We've worked with a lot of teams before and a lot of people before who we've had one member of the company who is really going for it and really doing really well.
Yeah.
And it would be when we would be working with a few, like a big sales team. One person's just doing fantastically, and the others seem to be slowing down. And sometimes it wouldn't be addressed, but it's all about bringing them together and saying, look, this is a combined effort. Because a lot of the time when it comes to sales and figures and growth, it's a competition a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not that, it's building everyone up together.
I think every team, obviously we have got these individual teams that do different things, but they all understand that everybody is needed to make that, to make the customer happy at the end of the day. It's not just one individual. It is a big team effort, which is why we're all in it together. If one side starts to slip, it can have impacts, but we just don't. It just doesn't seem to happen. It's because everybody again is owning each individual outcome, and they're just working together.
So when people talk about this creating a company culture, a lot of the time, if you bring in anyone who's a little bit skeptical, because obviously whenever I hear about it, I'm like, oh, okay, you're just going to go through the usual keynotes, but you have to really get people to believe them as they come in through the door, because you're not going to have enthusiastic people all the time. There's people value different things, or maybe they value learning, they value companies. So how do you get someone to get on board? And I think it's to do with just living, of all the leaders of the company living those company culture values themselves. They need to be the person bringing it down from the top level.
Yeah, I think when we look at Maverick as a whole, we're not this big corporate machine. We're not, the people that we have sort of levels in the business, but we don't. We've got heads of departments that have all worked their way up through, so they've all worked through the business to do things. So they're looking after that. There's a smaller group that are looking at the way the business is going to move forward and do different bits and pieces.
Well, as we grow in scale, it's people looking up to different people who've been there for a while. Like we said with the teaching. Yeah.
So it's a quite a relaxed culture that we've got in here, and I think when people come in, they can see that, Dean, the CEO, is not driving around in big Mercedes cars and going on holidays all over the place.
He might be Land Rover shopping, but that's all he does.
Well, he just has a look. About that one. But do you know what I mean? And I think, and they can see that, that when we look at our staff turnover, it's really low. I've worked in lots of businesses, and to get the level of staff turnover that we get, is low, and therefore we must be doing something right.
Yeah.
So, and people are rewarded for what they do in this business. We look at people, and if somebody can bring and add extra value, then we'll look at, how we can reward them for doing that.
During the process of hiring our new editors or our new business development people, they said a lot of the time, you do the usual questions, why are you leaving this current position? And a lot of the time it would be, because I don't see any growth of where I am right now, or, something's just not gone right at the company. And a lot of the time it is because they feel like there's nowhere else to go. They have their roles, they do their jobs, they push their buttons, they pull their levers, but they never learn anything. And I think that's an important part of Maverick, I guess, is because we are continuously learning.
We encourage people to do as much as they can. They may come in and be a content writer, but actually if they're really good at doing stuff on Instagram, or they like being in front of a camera, then we're going to give them the opportunity to do that.
I give them an opportunity. Anyone an opportunity to go on camera, Maverick Live. I love talking to everyone, especially when you'll see when they first come in and doing the introduction, Maverick Live. Where always, I don't know. Oh, hi. I came in.
I think it's great for them to come in and do that. That's part of what we are.
You should see some of them now, like Josh, Dave, yourself. You're articulated and you're talking and you're chatting, and it's, everyone's really developed their stage presence in a sense.
It's just getting over that initial hurdle, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
But again, that's the type of people that we hopefully employ. That somebody that's we can see the potential in them, and when we've got people like that, they will adapt our values. They will grow into those values, because we're already, as a part of the recruitment process, we're looking at them to sort of say, we know they're going to fit into what we've already, what the plan is for Maverick. So
exactly,
it's the whole part. So it's about recruiting them to fit, and once they're in there, making sure that they're getting rewarded for what they do, and you're going to end up with happy teams.
And that's the company culture at Maverick. If you're looking to create your own company culture, just remember to obviously own your outcomes, definitely, and ensure that you are instilling it from the top down, I would say. thank you for coming down.
No, it's great to come back on.
And we will see you next time from Maverick Live. Don't forget to subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, and we're on every social media you can think of, so go and follow us on those as well. We'll see you next time.